Why are you still living off that? How about you tell your daughter to work on her jump shot, stop missing layups? She missed a layup in the last preseason game on a fast break.
When Caitlin Clark shattered WNBA viewership records during her rookie season, most fans saw a star cementing her legacy. But off the court, one person wasn't celebrating. She was boiling. Angel Reese's mom didn't just post a reaction. She unleashed a full-blown social media meltdown that made a preseason TV rating feel like a national scandal. Caitlin Clark was lighting up broadcasts, selling out arenas, and stealing headlines without saying a word. Meanwhile, Reese's mom accused ESPN, the WNBA, and even the fans of favoritism, rigging, and disrespect, all while Clark stayed locked in on the game. So what pushed Angel Reese's mom to the edge? Why did one player's ratings success trigger such a public explosion from someone not even on the court? Because this story isn't just about basketball. It's about pride, pressure, and what happens when someone else becomes the face of the league, and it's not your daughter.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Clark, guard for the Indiana Fever.
Gets bumped, will take, and hit from 3.
The drama didn't start on the court. It started online. Just hours after Caitlin Clark's preseason games pulled in numbers the WNBA had never seen before, including a jaw-dropping 1.3 million viewers for a non-televised exhibition, Angel Reese's mom took to social media.
Saying that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, it's very true with Angel Reese's mom. Now, I don't like to go after people's parents unless they become a story of the sport. In this case, she's part of the story.
But instead of celebrating the sport's growth, she fired shots at the fans, at the media, at the hype machine surrounding Clark.
Well, my goodness. This news will probably leave Angel Reese's mom in shambles at this point. Of course, she's upset.
She didn't name Caitlin directly. She didn't have to. Her post was razor sharp. A certain fan base looking at attendance while we're celebrating championship banners, she tweeted. We are not the same. It was the kind of passive-aggressive message that doesn't need a name to make headlines.
So Caitlin Clark, had almost 15,000 people in that arena, basically sold out at Carver. And she tweeted this.
Oh, that certain fan base looking in the stands celebrating attendance, while others are looking up in the rafters celebrating championships, banners. We ain't the same. Different year, same haters. Have a great day. Well, aren't you the same hater of Caitlin Clark, living off her coattails?
I find this highly unnecessary. It sounds like hateration to me. And this is what I mean by insecurities. Insecurity is loud, confidence is quiet.
And it did. The timing? Impossible to ignore. Clark had just wrapped up her second preseason appearance with the Indiana Fever. She was sharp, confident, efficient. She hit 5 of her 11 shots and led her team with a poise that made it clear this wasn't just hype. She was the hype. But Reese's mom couldn't let the numbers speak for themselves. The internet lit up.
She made a couple of comments a couple of days ago about people literally covering statistical data involving attendance. That's a problem. That's hate. We aren't the same. Okay, I don't know what to tell you.
Reese's supporters applauded her for defending her daughter's legacy, but Clark's fans weren't buying it. This isn't about banners. It's about bitterness, one user wrote. Why take shots at a player who's done nothing but elevate the league? That's what made this blow-up so fascinating. Caitlin Clark hadn't said anything. She didn't subtweet. She didn't clap back. She didn't post cryptic messages or fire off press releases. She just played.
Caitlin Clark say something about Angel Reese's mom or anything Angel Reese related? Absolutely not. Why don't you just mind your own business and continue playing basketball and support your daughter? Right? That's what you're supposed to do as a mother. Support your daughter and hope she does well in this league, right? Because you don't hear Caitlin Clark going after her, why is she at the Met Gala? It's really unnecessary and very petty of her, especially a grown-ass woman. But now I realize why Angel Reese the way she is, because it's her mom.
And the results? Record-breaking. TV networks scrambled to adjust coverage. Indiana's preseason games were drawing more eyes than regular season matchups. Suddenly, preseason wasn't just warm-up basketball, it was prime time, and Clark was the reason. But that success created a ripple effect, because for some, the spotlight on Clark felt like a shadow cast on everyone else, especially Angel Reese.
And correct me if I'm wrong here. I thought Angel Reese was responsible for elevating the WNBA dump. I thought Angel Reese was responsible for taking the dump and turning it into an unmonetizable turd. Now, to her credit, it is a nicely polished turd. It almost looks appealing. Almost. Of course, it's still not appealing enough to generate profit, but I guess the WNBA is taking baby steps. I mean, what's one more year of multi-million-dollar losses? I thought Angel Reese was the star of stars, the icon of icons. That's what the mainstream media keeps telling me. Headline at Forbes from last month. How Angel Reese and Asia Wilson are leading the WNBA's growth.
The tension had been simmering since their college rivalry exploded in the 2023 national title game. That moment, the trash talk, the finger point, the viral memes turned them into polar opposites in the media's eyes. Clark became the silent assassin, Reese, the outspoken challenger.
A pre-season WNBA game. Do you understand what I mean? A pre-season WNBA game. By the way, why the hell is the Paige Beckers and Angel Reese ratings from Ion Network Friday, why are they MIA right now?
And while both players carried massive expectations into the WNBA, the coverage wasn't balanced. Clark got the magazine covers, the signature shoe deal, the sold-out arenas. Reese, she got questions about whether she could keep up. So when Clark's ratings crushed the numbers from Reese's preseason debut, the comparisons weren't just inevitable, they were weaponized. Suddenly, Reese's family felt the need to defend her greatness, not on the court, but online.
This pettiness, this insecurity, this bravado, this inflated ego, it stems from the mom, man. It was unnecessary dig. Like, okay, you're still living off of college. The national title is literally 2 years ago with LSU. We're going on year 3 in a couple months. Why are you still living off that? How about you tell your daughter to work on her jump shot, stop missing layups? She missed a layup in the last preseason game on a fast break.
But here's the catch. This wasn't about performance. It was about perception. Reese had a solid game, but Clark, she was the headline. And that's where the real drama lives. Not in the game itself, but in the growing gap between who gets celebrated and who gets questioned.
You wonder why you have the least amount of fans showing up in attendance at your games. That all has something to do with it. You're not relatable. You're not likable. People only hear from you when you showing half off, your body, or you're showing off what you're wearing, right? Trying to make a fashion statement. You're showing off your new weave. It's so unbelievable. You're showing off your new lashes, right? But you don't talk basketball now.
Therefore, this wasn't just a social media outburst. It was a warning shot, a sign that the rivalry between Reese and Clark is no longer just about basketball. It's about branding, about visibility, about legacy.
Caitlin Clark say something about Angel Reese's mom or anything Angel Reese related? Absolutely not. Why don't you just mind your own business and continue playing basketball and support your daughter, right? That's what you're supposed to do as a mother. Support your daughter and hope she does well in this league, right? Because you don't hear Caitlin Clark going after her, why is she at the Met Gala? It's really unnecessary and very petty of her, especially a grown-ass woman. But now I realize why Angel Reese the way she is, because it's her mom. This pettiness, this insecurity, this bravado, this inflated ego, it stems from the mom, man.
And for Reese's mom, that legacy felt under attack. The irony of it all, Caitlin Clark didn't need to say a word. While Angel Reese's mom posted, argued, and deflected attention from what was happening on the scoreboard, Clark simply kept doing what she always does, playing basketball, and not just any basketball, the kind of basketball that sells out arenas, crashes league websites, and forces ESPN to reshuffle its entire broadcast schedule.
Caitlin Clark is really back, and so is that CC motion. Look, I know I've said before I don't want to talk about repeats, and this topic isn't really brand new, but it feels fresh in a sense because we finally saw Caitlin Clark back out.
She didn't call out Reese. She didn't shade LSU. She didn't fuel the fire. She lit up the court instead.
Now see, right here, the Fever Brazil game came to 1.3 million viewers. 1.3 million viewers to an exhibition game, not even a preseason game. An exhibition game. An exhibition game. An exhibition game. They came to an exhibition game. Or say they came to watch an exhibition game. That was a 60-point game, and Caitlin Clark checked out at the end of the third quarter. And it averaged 1.3 million viewers, which is absolutely crazy.
But this isn't just a Clark versus Reese narrative. It's bigger than that. What happened with Reese's mom exposed a deeper truth about the WNBA's media landscape. The players aren't just competing in games, they're competing for attention, for headlines, for influence. And sometimes, the people around them take that fight even further. It's understandable to a point. Angel Reese isn't just a player, she's a symbol of swagger, confidence, and unapologetic self-belief. Her college run made her a star. Her WNBA debut was supposed to continue that rise, but in a league built on narratives, only one person can be the moment. And that person, for now, is Caitlin Clark.
Indiana Fever just won what I thought was a pretty easy game against the Atlanta Dream, but I want to focus on Caitlin Clark because I think she's gotten 10 times better over the offseason. The number one thing I like about Caitlin Clark in these first two preseason games is that she's been very efficient. In the first game, she was 6 for 10, second game 5 for 11. She could have got some more shots up, but the shots she did get up, she made the majority of it.
That's not disrespect. That's just data. Clark's exhibition game against the Brazilian national team pulled in 1.3 million viewers. Her jersey sales, ticket demand, and social media following all exploded before she played a single regular season minute. It's not hype. It's history.
Like, preseason games generally aren't like a big thing in most seasons, but I don't know, this is like the Showtime fever. Like, this is crazy stuff. I mean, even in the first preseason game that Caitlin Clark was out in, the Indiana Fever and the Mystics, like, the Mystics went hard. The Brazilian national team, they went hard. But listen, the Brazilian national team...
Meanwhile, Reese's preseason games barely moved the needle. The ratings were quiet. The coverage was muted. And that silence, it echoed louder than any tweet. So Reese's mom tried to change the story. She turned stats into slights, numbers into narratives. But the problem is, the numbers don't lie, and neither does the scoreboard. Still, there's something undeniably tragic about watching someone wage war against reality, trying to rewrite public perception with passion instead of performance. It's the sports equivalent of bringing a tweet to a stat fight. But maybe that's the point.
Caitlin Clark literally just playing basketball. Like, I love Caitlin Clark so much. The number one reason is because she's literally being herself and pissing the world off. She isn't doing anything wrong. She's not saying controversial things. She's not out there shaking her booty on IG. She's not trying to get all attention or anything off of non-basketball things. It's just strictly basketball.
Maybe this isn't about who's better on the court. Maybe it's about whose story gets told and who feels left out when it isn't. That feeling is real. The frustration is real, but the facts, they don't care about feelings. Caitlin Clark is winning, not just in games, but in impact. And that's why this feud is far from over, because deep down, everyone knows this wasn't about a single preseason game. It wasn't about attendance, banners, or tweets. It was about something much more powerful: relevance. Reese's mom didn't melt down over TV numbers. She melted down over what those numbers meant, that no matter how loud the past was, the future was already moving on, with or without her daughter in the spotlight. Therefore, the stage is now set, not just for the next game, but for the next moment. The next time Reese and Clark share the floor, it won't just be about points. It'll be about pride, about proving something, not just to the league, but to the millions watching. And if you think this story ends here, think again.
Angel Reese, girl, you're my angel. You're my darling, ain't folks.
Angel Reese just got hit with the one stat she can't flex on, TV ratings. While Caitlin Clark was shattering viewership records like a seasoned superstar, Angel's preseason debut fell flat.
So I think it's time to finally, end the argument. End the argument that there is any sort of other needle mover that is even remotely close to Caitlin Clark in the WNBA. And again, the reason why we've got Hailey Van Lith up is because it was Hailey Van Lith's return as well as Angel Reese's return. Angel was not the only person. They had two players returning. However, right now in Carver, there are no tickets left for under $200.
And when those humiliating numbers dropped, Reese absolutely melted down. We're talking cryptic posts, side-eye emojis, and a wave of deflection that had her blaming everyone, the networks, the time slot.
Twitter fingers turned to can't even show up and buy ticket fingers. Angel Reese going home to her alma mater, LSU, plays against the Brazilian national team in front of 6,300.
Even the weather. But here's the thing. The numbers don't lie. Caitlin Clark's exhibition game pulled in over 1.3 million viewers. Angel barely made a dent. Less than a rerun of Storage Wars. Less than a local chess tournament. That's not a rivalry, that's a wipeout. And now fans are turning. Analysts are laughing. And Reese, she's lashing out. She's always said people watch because of her.
I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, just because of one single game. And just looking at that, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize.
But when it really counted, America tuned her out.
You know what I love watching? I love watching her highlights of missing shots. She's got to be the worst shooter you've met in your life.
And turned up for Caitlin Clark instead. So what happened? Why did the self-proclaimed queen of the WNBA crash this hard? And what does her meltdown really say about the pressure she's facing off the court?
For instance, before a game or after a game or during practice for real, you rarely ever hear from Angel Reese. And my question is why? Why don't you like to talk basketball, Angel? Is it because you miss so many layups, you're so bad?
Because if this keeps up, Angel Reese won't just lose the ratings war, she might lose the entire narrative. Let's start with the stakes. This wasn't just a preseason game. This was supposed to be Angel Reese's moment.
Be here with you guys today, Angel Reese, girl, you're my angel. You're my darling, ain't folks. The Chicago Sky Game 1 of the preseason was underway last night. Angel Reese looked pretty good, but we're gonna get into that momentarily. On the negative side, Angel Reese fans, LSU fans, all of you who tell us, oh my God, what a big superstar.
The hype was real. Social media was buzzing. Major outlets ran with headlines calling her the face of the WNBA's future. Her debut with the Chicago Sky against Brazil was hyped like a Super Bowl. Trailers, teasers, even press releases bragging about her arrival. But when the game aired, crickets. The numbers were brutal. Barely anyone watched. ESPN didn't even bother publishing viewership data, and insiders say the figures were so low, they didn't want them public. Some reports even claim the game pulled less than 100,000 live viewers nationwide. Meanwhile, over in Indiana, Caitlin Clark had her own exhibition against Brazil. But it wasn't even close. Over 1.3 million tuned in. That's a 13% jump over the league's regular season average.
But for Caitlin Clark to be as popular as she is, I mean, it's just kind of extraordinary. I mean, it's cut through the noise to an extent that I've never seen anything in women's college basketball.
But also, I think that people understandably have a fascination with extreme excellence. I've never watched women's college basketball before. I might watch Caitlin Clark, though. Extreme excellence has its own appeal.
Let that sink in. Clark's exhibition game outperformed most of the WNBA playoffs. It even beat Game 1 of the 2023 finals. And Angel, she got outdrawn by YouTube unboxing videos.
We got to talk about Angel Reese missing out on these press conferences all the time. What is this really about? Here's a girl, right, who loves to be in everybody's face, loves to be on front center, right? Always on TikTok, always on Instagram, always on YouTube with her podcast, but never doing press conferences before a game or after a game or during practice for real. You rarely ever hear from Angel Reese. And my question is why? Why don't you like to talk basketball, Angel? Is it because you miss so many layups, you're so bad at basketball for real?
Therefore, it wasn't just a loss, it was a humiliation. And Reese didn't take it quietly. She started firing off passive-aggressive posts on Instagram. She threw shade in interviews. She even hinted that the low numbers were part of a bigger conspiracy. Reese blamed ESPN for poor promotion. She called out the WNBA for scheduling. She even suggested that people were intentionally setting her up to fail. It was a total meltdown, but fans weren't buying it.
On the fans showing up in attendance at your games. That all has something to do with it. You're not relatable. You're not likable. People only hear from you when you showing half off, your body, or you're showing off what you're wearing, right? Trying to make a fashion statement. You're showing off your new weave. It's so unbelievable. You're showing off your new lashes, right? But you don't talk basketball.
Because while Angel Reese was making excuses, Caitlin Clark was making history. She didn't lash out. She didn't blame anyone. She just played her game. And the entire sports world watched. From NBA stars to late-night talk show hosts, Clark had everyone's attention. Reese, on the other hand, had to watch as her rival turned an exhibition into a cultural event. The optics were devastating, especially for someone who built her brand on being watched. This is the same Angel Reese who told the media that she's the reason people are tuning in, the one who said she's the most impactful player in women's basketball.
Wait a minute, correct me if I'm wrong here. I thought Angel Reese was responsible for elevating the WNBA dump. I thought Angel Reese was responsible for taking the dump and turning it into an unmonetizable turd. Now, to her credit, it is a nicely polished turd. It almost looks appealing. Almost. Of course, it's still not appealing enough to generate profit, but I guess the WNBA is taking baby steps. I mean, what's one more year of multi-million-dollar losses? I thought Angel Reese was the star of stars, the icon of icons. That's what the mainstream media keeps telling me. Headline at Forbes from last month. How Angel Reese and Asia Wilson are leading the WNBA's growth.
And yet, when the cameras were rolling, the crowd didn't show. It wasn't just a bad look, it was a brutal reality check. Because the truth is, fans don't care about Instagram follower counts or endorsement deals. They care about what happens on the court. And right now, Caitlin Clark is delivering something real. She's not just a highlight machine. She's appointment viewing.
I just couldn't. So this is what an actual crowd looks like. Chloe Peterson put this up. That is a sold-out arena. 14,998 people. That's all it could hold. They all showed up.
Reese, for all her flash, still hasn't proven she can match that level of impact. And this collapse matters, because both women are being positioned as the future of the league. The media wants a rivalry. The WNBA wants a ratings boost. But if one of them can't bring viewers, that rivalry falls apart fast. Therefore, Angel Reese's reaction wasn't just emotional, it was desperate. She knows what this means. She knows how fast public opinion can turn, and she knows that if this narrative sticks, she could go from breakout star to media liability in just a few months. But here's where things get even messier. Her fans doubled down.
Talk about how much they're fans of Angel Reese, but they won't actually put in effort to show how much they're fans of Angel Reese. They won't put their money where their mouth is, a running theme with the...
How embarrassing. How embarrassing. Now, you're not going to hear this from the mainstream media who continues to pretend that the Bayou Barbie is beloved. You're not going to hear this from the media who continues to pretend that Angel Reese is a huge star. The Bayou Barbie might be beloved by some. Angel Reese might even be a huge star. But like I have been telling you guys for 2 years, there's one thing that Angel Reese is not. Angel Reese is not a draw.
They flooded social media with defenses. They accused the networks of sabotage. They claimed Clark was being handed the spotlight. But none of that changes the scoreboard. You can't meme your way out of a ratings flop because in the WNBA, numbers are the story.
LSU fans, where y'all at? Angel Reese fans, where y'all at? Chicago Sky fans, where y'all at? I know people from Florida flying into Iowa to watch Caitlin Clark go up against the Brazilian national team. I know people from California flying in to Iowa to watch Caitlin Clark go up against the Brazilian national team. I wouldn't be surprised if people from Europe, South America, Africa, China are flying just to watch Caitlin Clark return to Iowa to take on the Brazilian national team. But LSU, Angel Reese, and all of those bums can't dish up a couple dollars to watch Angel Reese play. And it's pathetic because Angel Reese had a damn good game. Showed off her new Reebok shoes, looking pretty good. Picked up right where she left off, 15 points, 10 rebounds, 4 for 7. The double-double is back.
And when Angel Reese finally got her big chance, the country looked away. So where does Angel Reese go from here? That's the question echoing across the league. And honestly, no one has a clear answer because the bigger the stage gets, the more obvious the gap becomes. Not in skill, not in talent, but in draw.
According to Forbes, Angel Reese is arguably the biggest star in the WNBA because she has more social media followers than everyone else. But like I say all the time, popularity on social media, that does not equate to the main.
Caitlin Clark isn't just performing. She's pulling in crowds like a rock star. Preseason arenas are packed. Merch is selling out. Her name trends on social media every single game day. And here's the kicker, she doesn't need to say a word. Meanwhile, Angel Reese has built a brand that needs noise to survive. She's always been loud, always been bold, always leaned into the spotlight. But when the spotlight turned on her and the audience disappeared, everything cracked.
I've tried to tell you guys, you heard me say it on this channel. A lot of Angel Reese fans are not basketball fans, and they are proving it. They proved it last night without a shadow of a doubt. That was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen. You might be like, well, Rhodes, what was so embarrassing?
Therefore, this meltdown wasn't just about the numbers. It was about the fear behind them. The fear that maybe the narrative is slipping. That maybe the crown she claimed is already being handed to someone else. And she's not wrong to be concerned, because fans aren't waiting. The media isn't waiting. And the league definitely isn't waiting.
They're getting their attention now. And I told you before that it had to sort of be like a reality TV. And that's what they're starting to give us. And we're paying attention. We're all tuned in. They're getting more attention than they've ever gotten before. And a part of it is Angel Reese. We cannot deny that. She was a part of it. Is she the part of it? No, that's Caitlin. Caitlin is the person who's the main factor. She's the top of the show. She's what everybody came to see.
Right now, Caitlin Clark is the center of gravity, the engine, the headline. Whether that's fair or not doesn't matter. That's reality. And the longer Reese stays focused on everything except basketball, the harder it's going to be to reclaim the story. But there's still a path forward.
This season, can we know how you felt about your play out there? You're 2 for 8. Can we know how you feel about your new role, supposedly being a point forward? Ain't no damn point forward. She not a point forward is a person that actually create shots for others, easy buckets for others. That's what a point guard. Caitlin Clark don't just pass the ball down to Leah Boston and she turn around and make a layup and get an assist. She don't just get those kind of assists where she really didn't have nothing to do with getting Camila Cardoso or one of her players an easy basket. She not getting nobody no easy baskets. It's all off the execution of the play. Whether somebody cut back door and she make a good pass. She can make good passes, but a point forward is somebody who actually orchestrates the offense.
Angel Reese has the tools. She's strong. She's gritty. She plays with edge. But that edge has to come through on the court, not just in press conferences or Instagram stories. If she wants to prove she's more than hype, now is the moment. And that starts with tuning out the distractions and showing up in the next game like the world is watching, even if the ratings don't say so. Because here's the truth the media won't say out loud. This isn't just a Caitlin versus Angel story. It's a WNBA survival story. The league is riding a wave of attention it hasn't seen in decades. If this rookie class flops in the ratings, if stars like Reese can't deliver viewership, that wave crashes fast. So it's not just her reputation on the line, it's the league's momentum too. Therefore, this has to be the wake-up call, the pivot point, the moment when Angel Reese stops chasing the crown and earns it instead. Not through hype, not through talk, through real, undeniable, can't-look-away performances, because if not, the numbers will only get worse, the comparisons will get louder, and Caitlin Clark will keep climbing while Reese risks being left behind in her own story. And that's the part that stings the most. Not because Reese isn't good enough, but because she is. But greatness in this era isn't just about how you play. It's about what people see. And right now, what they see is one star rising and the other stuck defending shadows. Which brings us to the final twist. Some say the ratings don't matter. That preseason is meaningless. But if that's true, why did Caitlin's numbers shake the entire sports world? Why did Angel's flop cause this much noise? Because deep down, everyone knows ratings are reality. They reveal what fans care about, who's being followed, who's changing the game. And that's why Angel Reese's meltdown matters. Not because she lost one battle, but because the world just showed her what it's really watching.